What's up, chat? Happy Wednesday, September 29th, 2021. We knew what day it was. We knew. What's up, Jonathan Adams? What's up, Lincoln the Hawk? That's a cool name. I've seen a lot. That's a cool one. What's up, Dan Glazy Mofo, Earth to Air, Josh Jennings? Look at all the years. Love it. How you boys doing? You ready for some baseball? Some baseball? How'd you do last night? I got a screenshot or two last night. My boy, I used to call him what? Bots Tigers or something. Little Braves fan. I remember him. He let the Yankees take him to Titletown last night, huh? Planet Taylor. Recognize him. Maybe he'll drop by the chat. But that was one of the screenshots I saw last night. Yankees coming through. Giancarlo Stanton coming through. Look at him. He cleaned up. First and second, whatever this is. Looks like he grabbed the chalky Rockies. And then he sprinkled in some non-chalky Yankees who came through. Judge homered, Stanton homered, Gio homered, DJ got on base, Miguel Sano, one of the couple twins that looked like they had sizable shots at homers, Trevor Story homered. And they got a little Coors Field exposure. Yadiel Hernandez, Ryan Zimmerman. Yeah, good lineup. Charlie Morton, I think, was also kind of nutty last night. I think he was by far the best pitcher on the slate when it was all said and done. And I don't think he was everyone's preferred option when it came to those 9K plus guys. So, shout out to you guys. I had a little bit of Morton, but he was, I think, tier 3. So I don't think I had more than like 8% of him. But yeah, he was one of the guys pitching in a spot where it mattered, right? The Braves trying to lock down that AL East. The Phillies were trying to fight back into it too, but Morton pitched where it mattered. We talked about his strikeout rates to neutralize lefties. He got you 10 strikeouts pitching for the Braves. I don't say playoff lives, but trying to lock down the NL East. Luis Robert batting second. He got himself not one but 2 bombs. Walker Buehler against the Padres. This is how big the drop-off was. 10 points from the number 1 pitcher to the number 2 pitcher. Both of them 9K guys. So pitching was not really a massive factor last night. It was a lot of 20s and whatnot. It was really, did you get exposure to the Yankees? Because remember last night, the chalk was Red Sox, was Rockies and Nationals, and to an extent the Angels ended up being top 4, top 5 cumulative in ownership. Well, the Rockies only scored 3. The Nationals only scored 1. The Red Sox only scored 2. So it was a great night to be contrarian, and the Yankees were a stack that I had Stanton and Judge at 5% apiece. And you know what's funny about the Red Sox stack is everyone was 10 to 20%, except the guy that homered, Kyle Schwarber. I saw him at 5%. So Red Sox were a huge bust yesterday. So if you were a little different tonight, but different with the logic, right? It was very logical that a team like the Yankees could spray a few homers. You did well. Wasn't really a high scoring night in general though. Angels, all right. Two sneaky pitchers I was on last night. Didn't quite get there. Brady Singer got knocked out of the game. And then I was on AJ Alexy. I keep waiting for his strikeouts to catch up to him. He got 5 innings, got the win, but only 2 strikeouts. So that let me down. But I tell you what, at the end of the day, with only a couple of 20 bombs out of pitching, I'll take that 6K12. And he was definitely in a lot of my top lineups. Kind of one of my contrarian stands there was to fade the Angels, who were coming in with top 5 stack ownerships. I think it's because their pricing was so low and it helps you go get those higher end stacks. But yeah, I don't know. I did good last night because of being a biased Yankees fan, I guess. I don't know. What's up, Sean? How about them Rockies? You told me? I don't know. I feel like I had some Rockies in my top lineups. We just saw a tournament winning lineup with some Rockies. I had Trevor Story in all of my top lineups, so he did well. And then you got points from everybody. And remember, this isn't the 6K Rockies core stack. They were really cheap. So to get 5 out of 2,300 Diaza, 9 out of 2,500 Sam Hillier, like that wasn't like busting your lineup. I think Garrett Hampson was an extreme. If Garrett Hampson did anything, I would have made a lot more money last night. But what are you gonna do? It is that's baseball, Susan. What's up, C-Wiz? Got it from the greatest movie combining arm wrestling, trying to get custody of your kid over the top. Man, that is a genre that doesn't have a long aisle. If that was Blockbuster back in the day, that would just be one shelf in the back of the store. Hello, ma'am. Can I help you find a movie? Yeah. What are you in the mood for? Drama, comedy? I want arm wrestling and custody battles over children. That's going to be aisle 7, back shelf, second row. Thank you. And then you go look through the movies for an hour, and then you end up not picking one. Hey, the standings in baseball started to tighten up. Wild card standings. Yesterday, we weren't necessarily hyper focused on the games that mattered, but when it comes to pitching and maybe putting a little extra narrative on a few teams, I think it goes it's worth knowing who's playing for pink slips. You know what I'm saying? The Yankees grabbed a game on the Blue Jays. And then the Red Sox choked against the Orioles. And while all that was happening, Seattle is now a half game back from the Red Sox. So the Blue Jays are not even the next man up if the Boston Red Sox tank today. Seattle has an uphill battle today going against Frankie Montas. And then, if the Yankees can pull off a win here against Toronto, it's going to be a real tough stretch. But Seattle is going against an Athletics team in Frankie Montas that is still in it to win it, 3.5 games back, and those games count double, right? Because it is a team that you're trying to climb. So Athletics are still in it. They're still fighting. They're still 5-6 games left. So a lot of hungry baseball out of those guys. And then the other battle for position that we're watching intently is the NL West. The Giants, 2-game lead now on the Dodgers. Dodgers have to essentially win out and hope that the Giants lose 3 of them, right? So I don't know that that's going to happen against the D-backs, but fun race there. And everything else is pretty much starting to wrap up. So teams like the White Sox, maybe teams like the Astros, I guess there's a case that the White Sox and the Astros could be trying to position themselves for seeding, trying to catch. Actually, they would probably face each other no matter what, right? So it would just be home field advantage, and then Tampa is gonna grab the wild card team. So there's probably not a whole lot of change there for them. I guess it's just whoever wants home field advantage. And then for the NL East, Braves 3.5 games up on the Phillies. That's getting a win or two away from getting locked down. They're at 84, 94, 103. So no matter what, the NL West is going to host the wild card, which might be number 2 between the Cardinals and the second NL West team. So then there's really not a fight for anything else. Milwaukee's going to be kind of baked into playing the NL East team. So it's going to be Milwaukee and Atlanta more than likely, and then the West hosting the wild card team. So it's not a whole lot of seeding that can flip-flop, or that is likely to flip-flop there. So we'll keep that in mind, man. Fun times, though. Really fun times. It's making baseball exciting. It's like we get a week head start on playoff implications, and it in turn makes baseball feel like playoff baseball, right? That whole Fenway series for me was exciting, and the last night with the Blue Jays, I mean, I got a little extra skin in the game, but last night with the Blue Jays felt fun too. What up, John Galicia? How you doing? Sale is selling. I don't think Sale would start the wild card game, y'all. I think Eovaldi would. Maybe I'm lying, but especially more than likely if the Red Sox make the wild card, it's going to be against the Yankees. I would probably take Eovaldi and his righty splits against the better Yankee hitters right now, being the righties, being Judge, being Stanton. Rizzo's better against lefties too, so I think it would have to be Eovaldi. There's Taylor. What up, Taylor? Took first and second, so Taylor's always giving me shoot about the Yankees, and the Yankees got him a little spending money, so I don't want to hear it. But I guess your pitcher did lead the charge, right? That being said, I like Wood Gilbert tonight with the Yankees again. Let's go. What up, Jonathan Adams? What's up, boys? How we doing? Everybody doing all right? Tomorrow, probably about 6 a.m., we'll have a NFL Showdown video dropped on this channel. So if you guys are looking to play the Showdown tomorrow night, look for that in the morning. If you guys are watching, you're not currently subscribed, double check. 30% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. And we'll talk more about some other stuff later, PrizePicks. If you guys want a couple picks later, be sure to ring the bell. Remind me. Yesterday, not great, because I thought AJ Alexia over 4.5 strikeouts would happen, and I didn't think Brady Singer would get kicked out of the game. Man, he had been He'd been a rock for them going into that, but yesterday, not his day. So let's talk about some baseball. We have 13 games tonight. That's a lot of baseball, and some of these games don't mean a thing, and some of these games mean the world to these teams. And as we go, we'll kind of research with context here. If you guys have already done a little bit of research, man, this is a group thing. Be sure to share some stuff that you guys are digging in chat. Let me know what you're on, what you're off, and if you know something I don't, right? If I'm talking about a pitcher and you already specifically know that the skipper said this guy's on a limit or something like that, hey man, drop it in me, drop it in the bucket, because it's hard to know everything, right? Gonna be back when Run DFS when NBA starting real soon. Preseason this weekend. I don't think I'm gonna grind preseason. Not unless the Yankees tank here and don't make it. I'm going to try to enjoy playoffs as much as I can before NBA takes over my life. But yeah, we'll be kicking it every day and for NBA. That the RunDFS.com Discord, definitely strong community for that. What up, Tone Loke? You doing all right? Who's the chalk stacks tonight? Gunn, do you think Bray Wyatt shows up tonight on AEW? He might. Is he one of the guys subjected to the 90-day no-compete clause, or are they good on that? But I definitely think his connection with Brody Lee, he'll be in AEW. It's a matter of when. Man, how much fun is that? Anyway, let's talk baseball, guys. You're gonna get me on a tangent here. Let's talk about game number one. Run it back. Red Sox and the Orioles. Nate Eovaldi taking on Zach Lowther, I believe is how it is pronounced. Red Sox have an implied run total of 6.3. The Orioles 3.8. Can the Orioles stun them? In back-to-back nights, the offense absolutely fell flat yesterday for the Red Sox. Lowther, much like their opponent last night, Zimmerman, a not good lefty. 18% K rate to righties, 281 average allowed to righties, and a 2.3 home run per nine to righties. He's allowed a 12.2% barrel rate. I gotta believe the field's gonna go back to it. It is what it is. Kike Hernandez, Hunter Renfroe, Xander Bogaerts, Shady Martinez, all going to profile pretty decently in the bomb detector. Greg, appreciate that follow. Those would be guys I lined up to get. And then yesterday we saw if Kyle Schwarber makes that lineup, Schwarber came in at 5% ownership on a 20% owned stack, and he hit the bomb. So don't leave out these lefties. If you're stacking Red Sox, know that the Orioles bullpen on paper projects to be really, really bad, right? So Red Sox stack for sure. I'd imagine they're going to have high ownership attached to them. And then when it comes to the case of Nate Eovaldi, why is he 8,400? Like, what is that about? I feel like that's too cheap. That gives me a soft landing spot. If he's not his best, he gets me 16. I get it. He got blew up by the Yankees here. But 20-plus DKP in a, let's call it what it is. It's a must-win game. I don't know. I'm looking for Eovaldi to come out sharp. He's got 2 games against the Orioles. He's averaging 15. He dropped 16 on him last time. And that's what I'm saying. I'd kind of take 16 here. And I think my average expectation from pitchers today, as we saw last night, it's going to be lower, more often, right? I don't think a lot of these starters are going to go super deep. There's only a couple of teams that would have an incentive to lean on their starters to go deep. So Eovaldi 8,400 just feels a little bit underpriced. Looks like it's going to be sub 70-degree temperatures in Camden. It should still be okay to play hitter friendly, but Eovaldi is somebody that can get some strikeouts. Has a 1-4 K rate to both sides of the plate. This Orioles lineup projects to be pretty righty heavy. So if we isolate his righty splits, 3.27 xFIP to right-handed hitters, 25% K rate, 0.98 home run per nine, and that's the important one with a 24% hard contact rate. So give me some Eovaldi for sure. Absolutely no Lowther, not even if there's a fire. And maybe we cherry pick some Orioles bats to play spoiler. But a big-time slate, 13 teams. I don't know how how enamored I'd become with the O stack. It would basically maybe taking some gambles on some of the talented guy. Unless I look at ownership projections and Eovaldi comes in at a ridiculous number, then maybe I hedge it and look for a little off-the-wall leverage. But I don't know if we get ridiculous ownership with 13 teams. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at on that one. But I think that's a pretty, I would say, common approach to that game, right? Red Sox stack, Eovaldi, no Orioles, but if we get to some, we'll get to some. Yankees and the Blue Jays. A playoff game, essentially. Garrett Cole taking on Jose Berrios. Yankees with a 4.1 implied run total. The Blue Jays with a 4 implied run total. Garrett Cole looking to continue this little hot streak for the Yankees, and he's got a tough task in front of him. This Blue Jays lineup does not strike out a ton. When Garrett Cole pitches, that means we probably get Kyle Higashioka behind the dish, so you don't get Gary Sanchez more than likely. And we saw yesterday they did not put Giancarlo Stanton in the field. And I know Stanton homered and doubled, but he also had a scary situation where he stumbled out of the box. And Rogers Center plays with turf, and I'm wondering if there's a fear, extra hesitation of putting Stanton in the field because of the turf. I don't recall if he played the field in the Rays series, but maybe that's something to watch for, because you would like to see some rotation in their outfield to get Luke Voit some at-bats. But at the same time, man, Brett Gardner's been pretty good stick-wise and defensively. So something to watch for there. And the reason why that could be extra interesting is whether or not they find himself a spot to get another big bopper bat, whether it be Voit, whether it be Gary. But we haven't seen Voit really become a priority, and you feel like he's going to be more of a defensive liability than Anthony Rizzo. So I can't see them just outright starting him over Rizzo in these super important games. So we'll see. Berrios, so far this season, a sub-4 xFIP to righties and lefties. Decent case stuff. You guys know the story on Berrios, man. He's going to keep the ball on the ground against righties. He's going to struggle a little bit more against lefties. Against lefties this season, a 1.58 home run per 9, about a 40% hard contact rate, a little bit above league average. So maybe this is the Gallo get-right spot if he can make contact. And then Anthony Rizzo, I don't mind looking his way, but really it feels like he is a reverse splits hitter for sure now. Like I can't remember the last time like he had a massively clutch hit against a righty. It seems like every time he has a clutch outing, hit or on base experience, it's against a lefty. And yesterday, kind of the same thing. He set Hunyin Ryu up on a down and away slider, basically gave him information that he would swing at it. So Ryu, of course, goes right back to the same pitch, and he golf swings it into left field, sends it the opposite way. So Berrios, interesting play here, because I do think people will be hesitant to pitch against the Yankees, and this could be one of those guys that gets into the strikeout upside of the Yankees, and the fact that his ground ball rate is so high. Maybe Berrios to 8,900 could be a good pivot to what's likely a chalkier Eovaldi, because it's a more menacing Yankees lineup, and maybe after yesterday people are more likely to gravitate towards the Yankees in this team is on fire spot. So I don't mind getting to a little bit Jose Berrios in 100, 150. I don't know that he would be my first pick in like less than 20, but I don't think it's that crazy in less than 20, because it is a meaningful game. Garrett Cole, 10.1K. What are you guys thinking on Garrett Cole? Are you guys going to get there at a aggressive stance, aggressive level? I do feel like his strikeout rates, or at least his strikeout production in the last couple games, really hasn't been super stellar. But he's eating you a decent chunk of innings. Quality start against the Red Sox after his worst performance of the year against the Indians, and then just 23 DKP against the Orioles. Are you guys a little bit soured on what his median range of outcome has been in his last 4 games? Or do you think against Toronto, big game, Garrett Cole can show up and show out? 4 games this season, averaging just 19 DKP against the Blue Jays. I'm kind of on the I'll have some, but I don't. I'm not expecting the world side of the fence here, but obviously the Yankee fan in me wants me to see him lock in and just be untouchable. And I think at 10.1K, Like it's that $9.99 for the I don't know, for the DiGiorno pizza thing, right? At at $10, it doesn't sound great. $9.99, yeah, I'll get it. If Garrett Cole's 9,900 versus 10.1K, maybe I'm like, oh, he's too cheap, and that column is drawing me. I don't know, but where are you guys at on Garrett Cole? Are you tier oneing him? I think I'd put him as a tier 2 for now, for me. And I think Barrios will probably be a high 3 for me, but maybe has a case to be a tier 2. You know. Thoughts on starting with Scherzer and Hearn for salary savings? I'm fine with Scherzer. Give me a bit to mull over Taylor Hearn, as that's one of those teams that really don't have much to play for, and Hearn's kind of a wishy-washy guy when it comes to advanced metrics and the expectation, right? ABG, what up, ABG? I think it's purely for ownership leverage reasons you play Cole. Yeah, so I guess what you're saying is you don't expect Garrett Cole to be high owned versus some of these other guys, and if you can get that Garrett Cole ceiling game at low ownership, go for it. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. At the same time, it's one of those spots where people probably don't gravitate aggressively to a Blue Jay stack against Garrett Cole because it's Garrett Cole, and this game just ends up being on a no-owned island, and maybe it's worth taking one side or the other, right? Maybe the Blue Jays wake up today, eat their Wheaties, and say, we have to win because the Mariners are about to take our playoff spot. And they come up and stun Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole can bleed red. If the Indians can get to him, the no-hit kids themselves, it's not impossible for the Blue Jays to get one, and maybe the Yankees magic finds an L. So I think this game is a fun range of outcomes game in tournaments. Obviously, the median range of outcomes is probably two good pitchers throw good games, and two good offenses have average games, and then maybe nothing here is tournament winning. But at one end of the spectrum could be that more of an outlier, but maybe more extreme range of outcome where Garrett Cole throws a 30 DKP gem or the Blue Jays drop 8 runs. You know what I'm saying? So I would have in MME some lines that kind of tell that story. But I don't think I could tier one Garrett Cole from where I'm at yet. All right. If you look at the top of the pitching player pool, Scherzer against San Diego sounds like a fun spot. Rodon catching the Reds is interesting. I think the Rodon probably has a shorter leash because of the positioning of the White Sox, so maybe that might give me some pushback. Montes, there's some competition within $500 to $800 of Cole. And it's a 13 game slate, so maybe we don't have to be aggressive on anybody because maybe no one but. I can see Eovaldi being crazy owned in context of the slate, but just kind of thinking out loud. What up, Lorenza? Choo choo, y'all hear the money train coming through. I set a gain. I had a gain filter noise gate for my mic, and for a while I had it on for these streams, and then. Because, I feel like if I point this out, now you're going to be able to hear it, and you're not going to be able to unhear it. But you guys probably hear this humming. That's my computer tower. So when I had the noise gate on, it did a great job of limiting that in the background noise. But then I was doing some VOD content, and when I was recording that, I noticed it kept cutting out my the beginning and the end. And it turns out, there's a way I can resolve that. But I haven't fixed it yet, so hopefully I don't forget for the next stream to fix that. Unless you guys just like the train as a money gimmick, but yeah, train apart. I still want to get maybe some video footage of showing you guys literally how close that train is to my front door. It's wild. Let's move on to the next game. Marlins at the Mets. Eliezer Hernandez taking on Taijuan Walker. The Marlins have a 3.3 implied run total. The Mets 4.3. So we got ourselves a 8 game total. Both pitchers I think are meh for me. I think Hernandez is somebody that I'm waiting for strikeouts to start developing, and maybe I lean on him more towards Miami Marlins Park games. But at 7,400, could I get 5 innings and 5 strikeouts? Possibly. 78, 92, 93 pitches last couple games. Gave up 3 bombs against the Nats. I probably don't force the issue, but I am cognitive of the fact that I think Hernandez has strikeout stuff. In the minors, he had big strikeout stuff, and so far we're seeing it. Though raw in development, we're seeing it in the majors. He has a 10.1% swing and strike rate so far in the majors with a 23% K rate. I think it has room to grow. We saw it in the minors, and we saw it last year. Last year, 13% swing and strike rate with over a 30% K rate. So I probably stand back on both pitchers here. And do we get to these offenses? Walker, he does give up some bombs, some power to righties, 172 home run per nine to righties so far this season. Are you running to play Brian De La Cruz? Probably not. This game total so low. Both pitchers, man. I think this game is probably one of those that we X out. And if we missed out on some money tonight because the Marlins dropped 14, well, I guess that's my penance, right? On the Mets side here against Hernandez, he does give up a more consistent bombs to lefties and high xFIP to lefties, almost a 5.5 xFIP to left-handed hitting, 18% K rate, 282 home run per nine. Maybe the Mets offer up a little bit more a little bit more of reliable bats in terms of leaning on them for power. Conforto, Lindor are two lefties that would profile well against his lefty splits. 200 plus ISOs since the beginning of last year, 800 plus OPSs. So maybe we look at them. The only Met with a 4+ rating on the bond detector right now is Pete Alonso. And although Hernandez has a sub 1 homer per nine overall against righties so far this season, his batted ball data suggests that number could easily go up, and maybe that's a Marlins Park thing. A 39% hard contact rate, 38% fly ball rate, a 22% line drive rate. Definitely room for some upside, and a guy like Pete Alonso could get through with some homers on that one. So just out of curiosity, and we saw last game, Hernandez can serve up some homers. Let me see if that home run rate has come up against righties on the road. So we're going to pull up Hernandez's Fangraphs card. Hit splits. That's the Godfather's Hoe Train. Look out now. Man, that was on TV. Away versus righties. No homers yet. Home versus righties. 2 homers. So I think it's still come, though. Just out of curiosity on the road. Yeah, all right. So I can get to some Alonso. I think the Mets in this game overall, I don't think I get to a full-on fledged 4 or 5 man stack from either team, but I could probably allow some of these Mets guys to be in the opto, and I'll probably set a rule to where I don't have more than 2 Mets or even more than 1 Met in a lineup, but so I don't get secretly overexposed to them. Moving on to the next game, Braves hosting the Phillies. Phillies with a 3.7 implied run total. The Braves with a 4.4. It's Aaron Nola and it's Max Fried. Max Fried has been the left-handed Greg Maddux as of late, man. He's going deep into games, and with Charlie Morton doing what he did yesterday, I mean, not that the Braves bullpen is good, but they can be rested, and they can just have a couple of guys that need to get their number called. Look at the last couple games for Fried. 9 innings, complete game against the San Diego Padres, 7 against the Giants, 6. Like, he's going deep into games, and at 8,600, that's kind of enough for me to be interested. 17-3 ground ball to fly ball ratio against the Padres. Not getting a ton of strikeouts, but if you're gonna eat some innings, I think that goes a long way, especially on FanDuel, where you can lean on those quality start bonus points. And Fanduel's only 9K, so if you sprinkle a few strikeouts in there, because he can still get strikeouts, right? A 23.7% overall K rate on the season with 11% swing and strike rate, he can still get the strikeouts. So I don't mind getting some Fried in my life here. and his extremely high ground ball rate kind of plays spoiler to some of these power guys from the Phillies anyway. I've got nobody on the Phillies with a 4+ rating on the bomb detector, the highest two being obviously Bryce Harper and Andrew McCutchen. So good spot for Fried if he can continue to be the pitcher that he's been. A 3.59 expected ERA and a 1.11 WHIP. So yeah, I'm fine with getting to Fried quite a bit. I think at 8,600 he's right there with the aforementioned Eovaldi, the Jose Barrioses, and maybe his strikeout numbers aren't expected to be as high as the others. But man, he might be able to offset that by going a little further. And the Phillies are not really a big strikeout team anyway, at least not against lefties. Harper, Realmuto, Verling, and the pitcher spot will strike out 20% plus. Here's another group question. Aaron Nola, yay or nay? I don't want to sway you guys one way or the other. I'm genuinely curious to know if you guys are done with Nola, if you guys are going to get to Nola at 9,500. When he is Aaron Nola, he can be one of the best pitchers in baseball, but his results have not quite been in line with his advanced metrics, right? A 3.38 expected ERA, but his ERA is 4.64, 30% K rate, 12.7% swing and strike rate. Like he's frustrating to play because the results are not what they should be based on the Saber metrics, the advanced metrics. Last couple games for him, 17, 29, 23, 13. Wide range of outcomes. If you get to that 29, you're in business. So far this season, he's been more effective from a fantasy perspective at home, and now he's going to face a hungry Braves team, but this Braves team still has strikeouts in this lineup, right? Jorge Soler leading off. This is a confirmed lineup, by the way. Jorge Soler, 26% K rate. Riley, Duvall, all over 1 and 4 K rates. And then Darno, Dansby Swanson, and the pitcher spot. So there are some strikeouts to be had in this lineup if he is on one, and this is a must-win game. So do you guys think Aaron Nola can get right? One-time dealer. If I give him 90 pitches in the K factory against this confirmed lineup, the math brings back 6.5 strikeouts, and at 100 pitches, 7.2 strikeouts, and at 90 pitches, I get almost 20 outs, and 100 pitches, I get 22 outs. So I'm kind of on the fence here, right? I think what we might end up seeing is there's only a couple pitches like a Eovaldi that maybe get, I don't want to say over-owned, but get decent to high ownership. It feels like it, at least on a 13-game slate. And no matter what, there is a range of outcome for Nolan to have one of those high 20 games at 9,500. So I'm kind of thinking this might be one of those gun be a scumbag and play both sides of this. Get Nola, but maybe get to some Braves as well. Because when Nola collapses, it can get bad. And then this bullpen, when this bullpen gets involved, all bets are kind of off. Especially if someone like Matt Moore were to get his number called. If we go look at the Phillies bullpen usage last couple days, that would be interesting. Yesterday they only went to Hector Neris. So Jose Alvarado. That's not the guy that was on the Rays, is it? Cam Bedrosian, Sam Coonrod, Ian Kennedy. I guess they have some rested arms here. So what about the Braves? The Braves should have only used 1 or 2 arms yesterday. Yeah, Luke Jackson and Will Smith. So you probably don't see Will Smith available unless they like him pitching 3 of his last 4. But past him, yeah, it's wide open. So I don't know, man. I guess Aaron Nola makes the player pool for me. But do we? Honestly, I don't think I tier 1 him. But do we tier 2, tier 3 him? And same with Fried. I feel like Fried is going to be a high tier 3 for me to start. But I might be able to wiggle up. The only pushback for me on Fried is that I don't have a ton of baked-in strikeouts here, but that's not necessarily something I need based on what we've seen Fried being able to accomplish, man. 6 innings plus. So I'll definitely – I feel like I'll get to Fried a little bit more on Fanduel than DraftKings, but he's going to be in the mix no matter what. But Nola is the guy for me that, kind of like Garrett Cole. Like, do we sleep on the fact that he does have 30 fantasy point upside? Like, this could be a huge statement game for him, especially to keep the Phillies' hopes and dreams alive, because that's the only way that they get into the playoffs is taking the division, right? There's no out for them to get that wild card spot because the Cardinals, right? Am I making that up? It's the Cardinals. It's the Cardinals to lose, and they're not losing it. The Braves might have the best hitting park on the slate if the roof is closed in Arlington. You think so? Yeah, you might be right. Looks like it. That's a good call there. Lorenza. National League. So yeah, it'll be the Cardinals and definitely Team 2 of the NL West. So there's no shot for the Phillies unless they win out here. So yeah, it might be balls to the wall for Aaron Nola. So I don't know. Maybe spin the narrative that way. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'll take a little bit. I'm not super enamored by the Brave stack, but they do bring upside, they do bring power, and like you're saying, Lorenza could be the most positive hitting environment on the slate. Looks like about 80 degrees. Truist Park definitely plays a little bit more hitter friendly. Not as much as I think everyone thinks, but it still can be hitter friendly. I don't have any real interest in getting to the Phillies at an aggressive rate. Kind of the same about the Braves, but I do think both teams are talented, that I would never push back on your desire to stack them. I'm just a sucker for the Braves stack, though. Man, they've made me a lot of dough this year. So I probably let that. But I'm on both pitchers at a probably high tier 2 starting rate. Tigers at the Twins. Next game on the docket, Casey Maize taking on Big Michael Pineda, former Yankee. Great. Twins have an implied run total of 5.2. Tigers 3.9. Modest expectations from this one. Michael Pineda $6,100 on DraftKings. Maybe if you wanted to throw him in your punt pool, we've seen righties have average plus games against the Tigers, so maybe it's not out of the range of outcomes for Pineda to come out here and drop a sneaky 16-18 at 6K, 3x stat as a SP2, maybe get you some salary. I don't hate it. Not something I feel overly convicted about. 18 DKP for Pineda in 6 innings against the Tigers in his last and only outing against them on July 26th. So I don't mind looking his way. Last couple games for him, 78, 89 pitches. We're not looking for him to go 6 innings plus, but on maybe a efficiency site like DraftKings, I think you're fine to put him in the pool and backload him for some of your high salary bat lineups. So if that's that approach for you, go for it. Mize is obviously on. I think AJ Hinch has got him on a innings limit diet. So I think the plan was no more than 3 innings ever for the rest of the year. Yeah, and that's what we're seeing. So he becomes completely unplayable here against the Twins. So we dismissed him. You might just project him to get one look at this lineup and vice versa. So any of these metrics and weaknesses that Casey Mize has, such as his power problems to lefties, for guys like Polanco, Max Kepler, we might only anticipate one at bat to take advantage of that, and then it turns into a bullpen game. Do we have any idea on a potential long man for the Tigers, or is this a bullpen game? If that's the case, it looks like it is. Maybe we play a little bit of guessing who's going to back up Mize. Have you guys seen anything about who might piggyback Mize? If so, help me out. Otherwise, looks like Urania threw 33 pitches yesterday. He was a former starter. Drew Hutchison, Derek Holland, there's a name. He threw 40 on Sunday. Could he be available? Maybe. Michael Fulmer. There's a couple names here. I don't know that any one of them are standing out. I guess who was Mize? Who backed him up last time? Or is this? I don't know. Maybe the Tigers don't really have it uniform like that. On the 24th, 5 days ago. I don't think I barely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 days ago we saw Urania, but since he pitched yesterday, no. Maybe. I guess it's just we treat it as a full-on bullpen game. So Tigers bullpen not great. They can get got here. I guess the Twins with a 5+ implied run total. They might make my stack list here. I think they were top 5 in cumulative ownership yesterday, but I'm fine with getting to this team overall. I think they're pretty cheap. Only Polanco over 5K. Buxton has been really red hot. He's at 4,900. Donaldson swinging a decent stick. Mitch Garver, always sneaky against either side of the plate. I liked him yesterday. Miguel Sano, under 4K. You know he's got pop. 18% barrel rate when he's making contact, and the Tigers don't have a ton of strikeout artists. So I'm on the twin stack. Sure, throw him in there. It's just one of those spots where you got to bet on the talent versus the matchup. And the matchup being they probably don't see one pitcher twice, probably. So give me a little bit of Pineda, bottom of the tier 3 barrel, some twin stacks, no Maize. If I wanted to pick on Michael Pineda, it would probably be a power lefty, and I think Akil Baddoo is really the only guy that I can stamp on to kind of fit that category. So little Akil Baddoo, not really running to the rest of the Tigers. And that's all I got to say about that. Where y'all get the ballpark info from. So MLB Ballpark Factors is something you can Google, and it changes from year to year because there are some differences in parks year to year. We've seen a couple of stadiums move their walls in. We've seen a couple stadiums maybe make some adjustments to keep some wind out. We've seen a couple stadiums really just have a better offense that plays in their stadium. But if you just Google MLB Ballpark Factors, I guess I can put this link in chat. I'll put it in chat. This is one way to kind of grab an idea of what is hitter friendly, what's pitcher friendly. So Marlins Park so far has played by far as the least runs per game expected in all of baseball. But I also think that's twofold. They just have a really bad offense as well. So a little context to it. I think what we look for in ballpark factors the most is the power, right? What ballparks are more susceptible to homers? Camden yards has always been up there, and this is one of those, just look at this year, and look really the last half decade. Camden's are always up there. Grand American Ballpark's always up there. Coors, I think, is just more for extra base hits than anything. Denver, yeah, they're barely above average in homers, but they give up a lot of triples. Like the always up there for league leaders in triples and extra base hits. So that's how you guys can look at that. Don't start building lineups on ballpark factors though. Like, understand what's a positive environment for pitchers and hitters, but it's still a talent based game. You can still see football games in Miami here and there, and same with Oracle. And then like yesterday, you can still see pitchers duels in ballpark and hitter friendly ballparks. So don't overrate that, especially this late in the season, right? Don't jack up your process. Still honor the matchups and understand the ballpark to an extent to maybe add a little bit of weighted favoritism or skepticism on a situation. Next game on the docket, Brewers and the Cardinals. We've got Adrian Hauser taking on Miles Michaelis. Thomas says, do you ever focus on which parks are better for batting sides? Focus no. Like, I wouldn't start. I don't know. So it's like there's only a couple that I really, really sway to, right? Chase Field when the roof's open, I love that. Coors Field. I love Great American Ballpark. Like, those are type of fields that I'll just stack the ballpark in MME. But for the most part, I don't have ballpark factors in the algorithm for the bomb detector. For me, like, that's straight up batted ball data, hitter, pitcher, and move forward. I don't know. I'd rather focus on the talent between the pitcher and the hitter, and then let the ballpark factor kind of work its way through. Let the weather work its way through. The environmental stuff. Control what you can control. So I don't necessarily focus on it, but I'm cognitive of it, right? That, like, I have the information in my index portal, just to have it, if that makes sense. Anyway, Cardinals hosting the Brewers. We got Adrian Hauser taking on Miles Michaelis. We got 4 implied run total for the Brewers, 4.1 for the Cardinals. So that's an 8.1 game total. The Cardinals are just never going to lose again. Adrian Hauser on the bump here. We focus on his righty splits because the Cardinals really come out super righty heavy. Maybe Dylan Carlson, Tommy Edman per usual. He's got a 3.85 xFIP to righties, a 19.9% K rate, extremely high ground ball rate. And extremely low soft contact rate, extremely low hard contact rate, so high soft contact rate. You don't expect him to get got, at least not much, by a righty-heavy lineup, but those aren't metrics that really suggest big fantasy value, right? We don't get the big strikeout potential in those numbers. We just kind of get a guy that's going to ground ball his way through half a game, hopefully, and get everybody to the showers. Case in point, his last outing was against these Cardinals. One earned run, just 3 strikeouts. Modest 12.7 DKP. 12's usually not going to do much for you in tournaments, and him being at 8,200 feels extremely crazy. I guess one of the outlier outcomes for a big ground ball guy for him, I don't want to say outlier, but one of the outcomes, like we saw with Max Fried, is he can maybe eat a CG. And ironically, he did CG this Cardinals team on September 4th. But like I said earlier, like the Brewers really aren't playing for anything. They're locked in. They're coasting into the playoffs. So you wonder what kind of tax and what kind of lease is on these pitchers. But I guess a guy like Hauser, if he can eat you a game, go for it. But that seems like one of the least likely ranges of outcomes, especially considering the kind of groove that the Cardinals are in right now. So I really don't have a ton of interest in 8,200 Hauser. I feel like the median range of outcomes for him is a low teens expectation. So that's probably going to be a no for me. But I wouldn't push back if you thought you'd take a stab at that. I think, at that same price range, $1,000, give or take, you only need a couple hundred more to get to Eovaldi, Barrios, and then Fried. At least Fried has that ground ball outcome with a little bit of strikeout potential. You really just don't get that with Hauser. So I'm not really there on Hauser. I just went full New Yorker. Michaelis, 6,500. No, less than 20% K rate to righties, less than 13% K rate so far to lefties. Just really no true redeeming qualities in his game right now to make him a featured part of my player pool on a 13-game slate. There's going to be plenty of pitchers that are already kind of cluttering the pool, and I just don't really have a spot for 6,500. Michaelis, 91, 86 pitches his last 2 outings. He did go 7 innings against Milwaukee, but just 3 strikeouts. 19, you would take 19 at 6,500, but you needed the most there, right? You needed those win points to get you to 19. So just by himself, you might expect 15, 16 DKP, and at 6,500, I want to set the bar a little bit higher, right? On a bigger slate, it's reasonable to expect that you're going to need 2 pitchers with 20 plus DKP apiece to make some noise in tournaments. So if you're just looking to stock and stuff and grab your 2-3x value, that's an approach that everyone has their own process. But I really think that 26 teams on a slate, we're probably going to have more than one optimal performance at pitcher. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to probably have a couple guys dip into 25 plus, and these guys don't really give me the strikeout hope and expectations, especially a slate that does have some household names in big spots, right? Scherzer, Garrett Cole, Nola, Maize. It's like there's definitely upside to and strikeout artists at the top end. So I don't want to get too attached to these 6K guys that we're hoping to ground ball to a ceiling performance of 19. I don't know. You like Bader for a dong, Jonathan Adams? Harrison Bader, I got him at a 3.21. Or are you just making a Vader reference? That's cool too. But I have him as one of the lowest bomb ratings on the slate. So, but that's just because of both pitchers being, or Hauser especially being a ground ball guy. Angels at the Rangers. Let's keep it moving. Rangers with a 4.4 implied run total. Angels with a 4.2. Taylor Hearn taking on Jansen Junker. Hearn is 5,100 on DraftKings. Somebody in chat had mentioned his name earlier. We were starting to get some lineups out too, by the way. I got to get those caught up in a second. Hearn has a 19.9% K rate to righties, a 26% K rate to lefties. Angels lineup, it features a strikeout heavy group of guys, but I'm starting to get tired of taking chances on medium strikeout numbers against the Angels in the last week. Alexi didn't quite do what I hoped he did yesterday, and he was a strikeout guy, and then Tyler Anderson getting smoked the other day. Maybe I'm just my hand is burnt, so I don't want to touch the stove again. But if you like Taylor Hearn, go for it. I don't think I'm going to get there today. Against lefties would be kind of what you're hoping for to tap into his decent K side. For the most part, though, a sub 10% swing and strike rate, so the profile is more as a contact guy. So I'm not really there at any high levels of interest. And then Jansen Junk has not been good in his 12 innings of sample size so far this season. A 7.2 expected ERA, a 1.25 WHIP, and a 9.8% K percentage. So if he's going to dare you to make contact, and I think what we can really look at is his hard contact and fly ball rate to righty so far, really, really bad. So this would be a spot to look at some Rangers righties for power, and Adolis Garcia has the highest bomb rating of any Rangers player for me today at a 4.24. If you can neutralize his 30% K rate with the 7% K rate of Jansen Junk and tap into some of those power metrics, you feel like Jansen Junk, these metrics did not get him called up, but that maybe the Angels are just not... maybe they just don't have a deep selection yet. They drafted a million pitchers this year, so maybe that changes in the future. But just out of curiosity, did Junk carry this crazy of a power problem to righties in the minors? Because that's wild. So we're going to go to MILB.com. 93 innings pitched in the minors, 97 strikeouts, a 110 whip, and a 2.81 ERA. So it looked like his minor numbers, had more reason to be hopeful for the Angels. But looking at his power numbers to righties, so we're looking at this column: 52 innings pitched against righties, 9 homers with a 0.58 ground out to error ratio. So he was a fly ball pitcher to righties, and he did allow an above average amount of homers. Usually you like to see one per 10, like one homer to 10 innings, and he's almost doubling that, 9 and 52. So yeah, I guess in the minors he did have a power problem to righties. The other thing to look at is the strikeouts. 52 innings against righties, 56 strikeouts. So he was more of a strikeout guy. So maybe we expect him to not be just a 7% K guy to righties going forward, but you got to go with what you got with. You got to go with what you got. And right now we got him struggling to get righties out in the big league level. So yeah, give me some Adolis Garcia to tap into those power metrics. And then Taylor Hearn, he actually has so far reverse splits in terms of homers allowed. So maybe Shohei Ohtani tries to get back in the mix of the home run league lead. But for the most part, there's not really a bunch of bats here I want to gravitate towards too. I'm going to check off a bunch of Rangers and Angels to be in the player pool, but I'll probably set a rule, unless I full stack. I don't think I want to say I don't think I'm going to full stack either team, but unless I full stack either team, I'll probably set a rule to not have more than like one or two of players from either team. But you could give me Adolis Garcia and I wouldn't feel bad about it. And Ohtani 6,200, so I don't think he's going to land in lineups a lot anyway, unless I put a dumb projection on him. Hearn is a nice looking tourney play. The Angels just want this season over with. Man, I'm with that mindset, ABG, but boy has that burned me in the last week, man. Tyler Anderson got just mollywopped by the Angels, and then AJ Alexi only got a couple of strikeouts yesterday. So I don't know. If you guys think Taylor Hearn can dip into a decent game. Definitely go with your gut there. 5,100, you can treat him like a bat if you didn't want to double down on my, I think you need 25 pluses from pitching today theory, and you treat him as a bat and just hope for home run points, go for it. But I'm still kind of married to the idea that on these bigger slates with the aces involved, I usually like to go get the aces because there's still a range for dueling 30s at the top, and there's plenty of value with the bats to fill in, right? I feel like if you get 60 out of your pitching spot, that dog will hunt more than trying to string together the 6K bats that get you the double dongs. I don't know. That's just my approach. Indians at the Royals. Zach Plesac taking on Carlos Rodon. Did I not put the Reds game? Yeah, there it is. All right, we'll go with the Indians at the Royals. Plesac versus Lynch. I don't know why I said Carlos Rodon. I was looking at the wrong street. We do have a Royals lineup. Whit Merrifield, Nicky Lopez, Salvador Perez, Andrew Benintendi, Carlos Santana, Hunter Dozier is batting 6th. Michael A. Taylor batting 7th. Kyle Isbell and Hanser Alberto. So that was our confirmed Royals lineup. Royals, neither one of these teams playing for anything, but maybe Salvador Perez swinging an inspired bat. He wants to lead the league in homers. Yesterday he took that lead. Plesac on the bump here. Plesac has been a guy that's watched his offense get no hit a few times. I don't think that's going to put me on Daniel Lynch, but that's always a fun fact when he grabs the mound. Plesac does have a power problem to righties, 1.8 home run per 9. 2 righties, so not a bad spot for Salvador Perez to extend his home run counter. He's got a 4.16 rating on the bomb detector, but at 5,700, you almost need him to homer for him to be a viable play in that catcher spot. So do with that as you may. Not really gravitating towards much in this game. Low game total of 9. 70 plus degrees, mid 70s out there in Kauffman. Kauffman in and of himself plays more of a pitcher friendly park, 0.83 on the home runs per average linear scale. But for the most part, I'm like, if you get to some Salvi, sure, but I don't think at 5,700 I'd be that much of a buyer. 3,500 on FanDuel feels a little bit more reasonable. And then Daniel Lynch, his numbers against righties, a 5.4 xFIP, 18% K rate, 308 average allowed, 143 home run per 9 allowed. Ahmed Rosario swinging a hot stick, Jose Ramirez and Franmil Reyes. That would be a lane of guys that I don't mind getting to versus those numbers to show you what Rosario's been up to. He's got a couple 4-hit games in his portfolio this season. Yesterday, none, but 4 hits against Kansas City on the 27th, and that's it. Okay, so I feel like his result numbers on the season are better than his recent numbers. Lynch's metrics right here against righties, the 40% ground ball rate, the 40% fly ball rate with a average hard contact rate, does make me look at Franmil Reyes a little bit more because I do like him against lefties. He does have a near 850 OPS since the beginning of last year against lefties, 220 plus ISO. But at 5,100, I feel like that's asking a lot. 3,400 though on FanDuel. Maybe I get to that a little bit more common, a little bit more often. And then Jose Ramirez, same thing. Almost 6K, $100 away from Ohtani. And then you think about what that salary could do to fill out a stack somewhere else, right? That money will go probably a little bit more. It would be a little bit more fiscally responsible to put that type of money into like a Red Sox stack or a core stack, something like that. So I'm not really that enamored by anything in this game, and the pieces that I do like are going to cost me. So unless you see like slate breaking potential out of 6K Ramirez, near 6K Salvador Perez, I probably don't have much from this game. So I'm just kind of hoping it's an average game, and if I miss a homer or two from the near 6K bats, then I miss a homer or two. What are you gonna do? What up, Josh? Your straw has been solid. Miles straw. Yeah, dude, the Indians have some weird pricing on DraftKings. There's a couple of guys that look a little bit more enticing on FanDuel price wise, but DraftKings is really asking the most out of one of the worst teams in baseball. So I don't know. That's when you let the park factor kind of barrel you away. What's up, Josh Gillen? What up, Josh Jennings? What up, Kay Johnson? What I miss besides the whole show? You're late. You're late. I'm gonna need you to fix that, bro. By the way, I think for NBA, you might expect the same time slot, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Almost no matter what time that the main stuff is, but we'll see. You guys ready to move on? Rays at the Astros. Drew Rasmussen taking on Luis H. Garcia. Rays a 4.3 implied run total. Astros 4.8. So two teams that are locked into the postseason. And they're really like there's no seeding implications here. I guess in a way the Astros could be overtaken by the White Sox for their seeding, but then I guess it comes down to home field advantage between them and the White Sox. But the Rays are locked into home field advantage. They're going to get the wild card team. So you might expect them to be a little bit more trepidatious with what they do with their starting pitchers. And Rasmussen is more of an opener anyway. But he's pretty good to shut down 4 or 5 innings. And maybe that does take the top off of an Astro stack. 5 innings strong in 3 straight games. 4 of his last 5. Gonna ground ball you to death. Not really playable from a fantasy perspective, so I don't have any Rasmussen against the Astros. Luis Garcia on the bump for the Astros, 3.6 xFIP to righties, 3.86 xFIP to lefties. Has been really good at preventing righties from doing anything against lefties. A higher average allowed and a 1.5 home run per 9 allowed. Maybe that bodes well for a guy like Brandon Lau, G-Man Choi, somebody like that. But it's not a spot that I'm running to, right? The Rays offense kind of priced up as well for a team with just a 4.3 implied run total. And a team that down the stretch, you might expect Kevin Cash to start giving half a days, even more so than usual, to some of his star players. So I think I'm staying away from the Rays. I think I'm definitely staying away from both pitchers, right? I guess Garcia, on a different slate, maybe Garcia made the mix for me because this projected Rays lineup still has some strikeout potential, and Garcia does offer a 26.4% overall K rate, and that's something at home that we've seen climb to 29%. Maybe it's worth getting to a little bit of Garcia because of that, but I think at the 9K range, like I'd rather go get some of these other guys that have a little bit more to pitch for, to play for. And Garcia is still an inherently tougher matchup against a lineup that will probably be more lefties than righties to tap into his weaknesses, which is lefties, a high average and some power allowed to lefties. So I'm probably not running to Garcia. I definitely will not have any Rasmussen. Astros offense, 4.8 implied run total. If you want to bet on the talent, go for it. But they have such a high responsibility because of the prices. They come in as, I don't know if the Dodgers are still as high as they were last night. Dodgers 6K, 5K. They feel like the Dodgers, right? Where they have the talent to be one of the better teams on the slate. But why are they, in context, this much more expensive than like the Red Sox, than Coors Field, than, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to get this Astro stack in with double barrel high ceiling pitchers. So I don't know, you're paying a premium, that's for sure, against a Rays team that probably has a well coached and well thought out pitching attack. So Altuve, Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Carlos Correa, Kyle Tucker's over 5K. Like, you're not getting any bargains here. Even Gurriel, just a stone's throw from 5K. My mind's telling me yes, but my salary's telling me no, man. That's a tall glass of water to sip on. Maybe we put him in the back end and make him a 3%er, and that'll be the stack that gets with some of those low end price pitchers. But it's hard to get that completed on DraftKings. Fanduel might be a little bit more viable. Still, everyone, most of the team under 4K, but from a Fanduel perspective, over 3,500 still somewhat hard to get together as a full stack. Chas McCormick coming in as the bargain bin Astro player if he cracks the lineup. But yeah, so that's it on that game. Let's get caught up on chat. Anything? What up, Celez? Went light yesterday. Didn't have much time. Only played $40 on DK, but won $575. Let's go. That's good, man. I like to see that. I've been wanting to do maybe a short series for the, like, I don't know, every morning have a YouTube short up with some of those screenshots, but you guys got to feed me those screenshots, man. Show you guys some love every day. So I think during NBA is when I'll definitely get spammed with screenshots, because it feels like a lot of the NBA cats are on Twitter. But if you guys follow me on Twitter, you have a decent night, you want some love, show me a screenshot, man. And we'll try and get that series going. We got a couple games left on the docket, 3 to be exact. So I'll take a pause for the cause, do a plug right quick, and we got four games to go. If you guys want access to this spreadsheet, expedite your daily research for MLB, get access to the bomb detector, the K factory, all that good stuff, go to rundfs.com, check out memberships, get signed up, try out a week pass, man. A week pass right now, that'll get you a shot at daily MLB spreadsheet access. You get access to tomorrow's showdown projections, the NFL Week 4 spreadsheet, my player pool projections, all that stuff for that. And then you get access to the rundfs.com VIP Discord. And every day before lock, I'm hanging out in the voice chat, so you guys can grab a microphone, jump in, make some friends in the DFS space, talk some strategy, debate LeBron versus Michael Jordan with Raj once a day, and then hopefully we make some lineups and enjoy lock. And that, while it's more of a laid-back fraternal type of space for baseball, it is crunch time when it's NBA pre-lock, when news is flying, when we got 30 people in there, and everyone's talking concepts of ownership and leveraging and late swap strategies, all that good stuff. So NBA is when we really buckle down. But for right now, if you're trying to dip your toes in the water, it's a good time to get into that Discord, right? R. Cadelza, have 2 and 3 man stacks been working better for you more than 4 and 5 mans? No. Usually, for DraftKings, and this is really Slate contingent, or Slate specific. But usually for DraftKings on these big slates, I'll full send a 5-man stack. But I also don't hate just going 4-man stacks and maybe 4-3s, 4-4, stuff like that. I recently been able to use Fantasy Cruncher versus some of the other optimizers I've been able to use, and they've made it a lot easier to get some of the stacking concepts that I want to achieve. And so that's been something I'm playing with and evolving. Setting stack exposures and letting it do all the work for me. But for the most part, I'm fine with letting 5-man stacks fly into the wind. But on the shorter slates, I feel like those are the slates that I'm more likely to get to 3-3s, 4-3s, stuff like that. Today I'll probably do half and half. Half 5-man, half 4-man. So if I'm running 150, 75 of them would be 5-man stacks and 75 of them would be 4-mans, and just let it fly back and forth. You know what I'm saying? What up, Dan T? Just got on. Sup, homie? Man, why is everybody late today? I'm just kidding. No, shout out to you guys for stopping by. If you're late, make sure you hit that thumbs up. That's all I ask. Let's move on to the Reds and the White Sox. We got Sonny Gray taking on Carlos Rodon. Let me make sure I got that game. Here we go. So both teams do have confirmed lineups out. Reds lineup is Jonathan India, Tyler Stevenson, Eugenio Suarez batting third. Get himself a little upgrade into the lineup. Kyle Farmer, Jose Barrero, Delino, DeShields. Did Barrero used to play for the Athletics? I feel like I've seen that name before, and my mind is telling me Athletics. Aquino, Max Schrock going from batting second to eighth. TJ Friedel batting ninth. That's our confirmed Reds lineup. I know Max Schrock has information, right? No? You alright? White Sox confirmed lineup: Tim Anderson, Luis Robert batting second again. Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Lori Garcia, Gavin Sheets, Adam Engel, and that is our confirmed White Sox lineup. Crunch is probably the best optimizer with trying to get stacks you want. So far so good. I'm hopefully we'll have a partnership with them, but I don't want to like release it because we've been hitting some road bumps. But hopefully we'll have something to intertwine with them, and I can show a little bit more stuff. Just FYI, Chipotle has brisket on their menu now, and it's legit. I digress. Back to DFS. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Chipotle has brisket on the menu now. Just putting it out there in the universe. Wasn't gonna hit the like. I'm back for the second time. My Votto and Springer under hit. What up, Zach? That's good, man. I'm glad you did good on PrizePicks yesterday because I did not. I had Singer over fantasy points and AJ Alexi over 4.5 strikeouts, neither of which were positive. Appreciate that subscription, Chad Rink. Rondon in play. Carlos Rodon, yeah, he's definitely in play. I don't got Twitter. You got IG. I do have IG, but I don't use it. I do want to get a TikTok presence. I need like a manager to help me out with that stuff because I'm an old boomer, guys. But from what I understand, TikTok is the wave, especially for content creation. Danielle, so I'm guessing, Shalez, that we have like an exposed nail on the bed, and it sounds like maybe she hit that nail. Just out of here. Babe, did you hit the nail?
It was like right in my heel. Like
yeah.
It literally punctured my heel.
Yeah, I gotta fix that. Ideal stack for tonight. Right now, it's looking like the Red Sox are leading the charge. I need to hear that I'm trying. Okay. All right, let's move on. Oh, no, let's talk about this game. Sonny Gray versus Carlos Rodon. So, Rodon is 10.2K. So, you asked about, is Rodon a good play? Chad, by the way, appreciate that follow. The only thing that would push me away from heavy expectations for Rodon at this price point is the I don't want to say the lack of incentive, but the White Sox, it comes down to home field advantage against the Astros, and right now I think that's the Astros to lose. So there's not really a reason for them to push any of their starters deep into these games, right? Last start for Rodon, 3 innings, 69 pitches. He had like an arm issue or something, and that's probably even more reason to be cautious with him. We haven't seen him throw 90 to 100 pitches since July 6th. So I don't know that you would play Rodon with deep pitch count or inning expectations because of the situation they're in. They're just trying to coast to the playoffs, and then that's when you unleash. A lot of these guys have already pitched more innings than they've ever pitched in their career, especially coming off that shortened season last year. So that would be my pushback on Rodon. Talent-wise, he's absolutely in play, but I would be worried about that, right? There's other 10K guys with no leash. Like Garrett Cole can throw 120 pitches tonight if it came down to it, whereas Rodon probably doesn't really sniff 90 if I'm just coming up with an obscure number. And to an extent, the same with Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray comes in at a little bit more forgiving price point against an offense that people aren't running to pitch against anyway. Run totals for this one, 3.2 for the Reds, 4.4 for the White Sox. Sonny Gray does have a little bit of a bugaboo with some power to righties, but I think that's been more so in Great American Ballpark, since Ballpark Factors kind of a theme of the show. But on the road, his overall home run per night has been sub-8. So I do think this game should project to be a little bit more of a pitcher's duel, at least for the first 5 innings. And then when the bullpens come in, it can get a little bit different. Luis Robert, 2 homers yesterday. He's 5,900 on DraftKings. So when you invest that type of price in him, you need a lot. And I don't think Sonny Gray is necessarily a guy that profiles like someone I want to pick on. If we let Bomb Detector tell the story, Grandal is the highest guy on the team with a 3.94 bomb rating, and it's not even that great. We like to see 4+. And then on the Red side, we don't have anyone 4+ at the moment either. So overall, I think this is a game that I'm going to be pretty light on. And I might get to a share or two of Sonny Gray. I do think his ground ball and strikeout propensity is decent enough for me to be into a range of outcome where he can get to a strikeout per inning, maybe get 5 or 6 innings. Not really holding my breath on the win, but if he got to 20 plus, I think that dog would hunt. One game against the White Sox earlier this season got almost 30 DKP, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. Another guy where you don't quite know what you're going to get in terms of pitch count or innings, but he does have the ability to be a strong guy at run prevention and get you some strikeouts and keep the ball on the ground. So not running towards him, but he would be somebody I'm more likely to get to at a decent clip versus Rodon, just because I'm worried about Rodon's leash here. Offensively, hey man, if you wanted to get to some White Sox stack, go for it. But I can't feel great about getting behind their stack while I put the pricing doubts and stress on the Astros, the Dodgers, teams like that. They're going against a good pitcher. So if you wanted to stack the White Sox, you're really you're betting on the talent versus the matchup, right? Ouch. Yeah. Let's move on to the next game. Giants hosting the D-backs. We've got Alex Wood versus Merrell Kelly. Neither team has confirmed their lineup yet. D-backs have a 3 implied run total. The Giants a 5.1. So if we let that tell it, we're probably a little bit more enamored with the Giants stack offensively than the D-back stack. Alex Wood, 3.59 xFIP to righties, a 26.6% K rate, and then a 3.51 xFIP to lefties, a 22% K rate. The home run per 9, about 1 or less, and then at home this season, we've seen his xFIP dip under 3.4 overall, with a 26% K rate and 0.82 home run per 9. So Alex Wood is 7,900. May be somebody that I put in my back pocket, right? You guys enjoyed Logan Webb last night. Why not get to a little bit of Alex Wood as an SP2? Hope for 20 plus. Probably not the most likely range of outcome, but his last couple of matchups at Coors, then Atlanta at the house, a little tougher to get through. I guess his pitch count is lower than we would want it. Came off the COVID IL for the 18th game. So maybe I walk backwards on that. Maybe we don't play Alex Wood, because if he threw 61 pitches at Coors, on a good day we plus 15 that, 76. So 76 pitches on a 13-game slate, probably not enough for me to buy into. So yeah, I'll walk backwards on Wood. I just won't get to pitching in this game. Against Merrell Kelly. Kelly does have a 161 homer per 9 to righties, a 181 overall homer per 9 on the road. So Chase Field will bail pitchers out of homers when they have the lid on, and when when that humidor gets to have its say in batted ball data. So let's pull up Merrell Kelly's road batted ball data. Whoa, look at those glyphics. Sorry for the random scream. Oof. Alright, so scroll down to batted ball data. Away versus righties, 41% fly ball rate, 44.7% pull rate, 36% hard contact rate, about average. Infield fly ball rate is also pretty high, 15%. So maybe we make his true fly ball rate a little bit lighter. But what you're seeing is he is giving up more homers naturally on the road. So we might be able to dip into that a little bit more for a Giants team that homers more than a lot of people think or might realize they do. So maybe not a bad spot to sign up for a Giants stack. Just Brandon Crawford comes in over 5K on this Giants stack. So I'm in on the Giants stack, sure. 5+ implied run total. It is pretty cold out there. 59 degrees is what I'm looking at. So I wouldn't go crazy or go all in with this stack. But to have a team that has a lot of 10% plus barrel percentages when they're not striking out versus Merrell Kelly, who does have a little bit of a homer problem, particularly against righties. Maybe I'm in on these righties. Maybe Buster Posey, Chris Bryant, Longo, Dongo season. Yeah, maybe I get to a little bit of that. But that's just low end back into the player pool. Against Alex Wood, if I wanted to grab a bat or two from the D-backs, it would easily be Ketel Marte leading the charge. I don't really have a big interest in anyone else. I guess Carson Kelly against a lefty, I'd always sign up for that. But for the most part, not running to a 3 implied run total team. Move on to the next game. Athletics at the Mariners. Frankie Montas taking on Logan Gilbert. So this is probably safe to say this game is the Athletics season. That's just my feel of it, right? To bring up that aesthetic for you guys. The wild card race. What up, Gentry? Hope you're doing all right, bro. You're gonna be back for NBA, hopefully. So looking at the AL wild card spot, Seattle moved themselves to half a game back of Boston, going half a game above Toronto, and then Oakland's 3.5 games back. And being at Oakland or playing Seattle, this game essentially counts double, right? You can put an L on the Mariners and then add a win to you. And I think with Athletics schedule, why something happened at Yahoo is my default browser right now. That's not okay. So after this game, they get 3 games with the Astros. So if the Athletics lose this game, I think it's safe to say that's their season. So this is their season. They have to win every game for the rest of the year to have a shot. Even then, it's a long shot. So Frankie Montas, what you got? 9,400 on DraftKings. He's definitely probably the guy they would want in this situation to attack the Mariners with. And the Mariners, they got young gun Logan Gilbert on the bump. So this might be a fun playoff feel game to watch if you guys don't have a dog in a fight. Last 2 games for Montas, 27, 29 DKP. The Astros, that's not a free 29. And you got to go out there and get it when it comes to them. So I like Frankie Montas quite a bit at 9,400. He might be my favorite option out of the 9K pitchers, right? He doesn't garner necessarily that household name value that maybe Nola, Cole, and Barrios, guys like that might bring. But, I mean, no one's pitching for more than Montas in this spot. Literally, you lose, you lose. You're out of there. So I like the narrative behind Montas, and most importantly, I like his talent. He's just really, really good. 2 games against Seattle this season, he's averaging 23 DKP apiece. And then, as of late, his pitch count's been high enough, and getting to 7 innings is what you want. Against this projected Mariners lineup, it's half and half, right? Half 20% or less K rates and half 25% or more K rates. So I'm in on Montas. Logan Gilbert, you want to run it back. Mariners getting hot at the right time. They also need to win essentially every game. Maybe not every game. They can get away with a loss here, but being a half game back from the Red Sox, you don't expect the Red Sox to lose their remaining games. I think they got the Twins after the Orioles, I think. But if they can win out, they can have a shot at that second wild card spot. So if the Yankees were to beat the Blue Jays today, and then the Red Sox lost another 1 game in their remaining 5 or so, and the Mariners won every game, unlikely or likely as it might be, the Mariners would make the playoffs. And between you and me, I want the Mariners to make the playoffs. So let me pull up the Mariners' remaining schedule. So yeah, it's all out here. Mariners get the Angels, so the Mariners could logistically win out, because the Angels are, those are games you're supposed to win. So the Mariners win tonight, it could be a lot of Seattle fans with some high hopes. So this is a very important game, and I'm there. I think you can give me Montas for sure. Logan Gilbert, 7,600. I mean, it's a lot to put on a rookie here, but there's not much better pitchers in their pitching staff than Gilbert right now. Last couple games for him, at the Angels, you wanted better results at that price point, 6,400. But prior to that, 7-6 innings. Boston's not a freebie to get 20 plus against Boston, sure. He's got 3 games against the Athletics, averaging 10 fantasy points. His matchup is definitely tougher than Montas' matchup. Yesterday, we didn't see Starling Marte in the lineup And we saw Chad Pinder in the lineup. Chatty Pendergrass. He homered. I think as long as Marte can play, he'll probably play. There had to be some extenuating circumstances for Marte to not make the lineup in must-win baseball situations. So look for him to be in or out of that lineup. If he's in that lineup, it looks like a much better bargain on Fanduel at $3,500 versus $5,600 on DraftKings. And not that you need him to have extra incentive to steal bases, but getting these guys on base and putting themselves in scoring position with your season on the line definitely could be even more reason to expect them to run and gun. And then $2,300 for Josh Harrison as a leadoff guy also feels kind of low. Another guy we might see take off. So yeah, give me a lot of this game. I like grabbing some of these inspired bats. I'm a little bit more on Montes than the Mariners. A lot bit more on Montes than the Mariners offense. Mitch Haniger's been getting hot at the right time. But yeah, Montes is going to be one of my favorite pitchers. I'll have a little bit of Gilbert. I have less expectation for Gilbert to do well than I do for Montes, just because the Athletics as a team I think are better, stronger, and a little bit lower on the strikeout side of things. But I'll have some Gilbert in my back pocket. I don't think I get to Mariners stacks unless Montes comes in with an egregious ownership. Then maybe I get a little bit of leverage, or even to hedge my own exposure to Montes, and then I'll have likely a little bit of Athletics exposure. So I'm kind of playing all of the different sides. Yeah. Favorite 3 leverage stacks. So I don't know who the highest own. I haven't looked at ownership yet. I like to process the slate first, and then I would be able to answer that, but I don't know. It's getting cold everywhere. Most games have a lot of meaning. Tend to be lower scoring nights. Yeah, we saw that last night. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. Guys, have you guys tried PrizePicks? PrizePicks.com. If you guys haven't, sign up using code GUNDACKER and play around with it. I think be responsible, right? Throw 20, 40, $50 on there, and don't go all in on the parlay style picks, man. Make yourself some responsible flex cards. If you guys are not familiar with the concept of PrizePicks, then you don't watch any DFS video ever, because they sponsor literally everybody. Everyone has a code. But if you haven't tried it, sign up using my code. They send me a little love once a month, and it's a good way to support me without having to directly do it, right? So if you guys want to sign up and try some of these pitcher K props, go for it. They also have hitter props. They have NFL projections to bet against. They have something for everybody. Literally, I'm seeing screenshots every night of the most random assortment of cards. They're like cricket, MMA, CS:GO, esports. Like it's crazy what you can do with these picks on PrizePicks. So looking through PrizePicks right now, anything that sticks out as something I would bet over under on. What about Rodon? We talked about him maybe not going super deep. He's got 6.5 strikeouts against this Reds lineup. Reds definitely worse against lefties and worse on the road. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe that's a tough one to bet against, but with him maybe having less of a leash, this might be a spot to grab some unders on fantasy projections. Guys you don't think that will qualify for the quality start bonus, maybe that's not baked into their fantasy score. So Rodon is not listed on here as a guy with a fantasy score, so that's kind of unfortunate. Maybe they're smart. 6.5 is kind of right on the nose based on that projected lineup. Anybody else we like sticking out here? Plesac at 4.5. He's more of a contact guy. Drew Rasmussen against Houston. I might be on the under here. Houston kind of a strikeout team. Rasmussen not a guy that we expect to go more than 5 innings. Kind of an opener type deal. Houston, maybe the bottom half of this Houston lineup does strike out a little bit more. These are really good numbers right now, I think. Montes 6.5, Gilbert 5.5, Max Scherzer's at 8 strikeouts, Alex Wood at 5. Does that seem a little bit high against the D-backs? Favorite 2 SPs on DraftKings. Right now, I'm kind of thinking Frankie Montas and Nathan Eovaldi give you a nice combination of floor to ceiling, and those are two guys that are pitching for their playoff lives. So those would probably be two guys that kind of check a lot of boxes for me. Maybe I'm in on Wood under. I've got a bunch of low K rates. I'd have to see what the confirmed D-backs lineup gets to. But anyway, you find a couple picks that you like. You hit over, under. You could bet strikeout props. You could bet fantasy point projections. You could bet hits, total bases, all that good stuff for the hitters as well. I tend to stay away from the hits plus walks, but I don't think it's crazy to look that way. I usually like to go fantasy score. Guys that I think that look good in the bomb detector. So if we open up the bomb detector and sort it from highest to lowest, we're starting to get a couple of lineups out. Where are we at? 3:34. We got a little bit of time. I don't want to waste too much time here. Who's at the top of the bomb detector? So if I could find a guy at the top of the bomb detector that has a decent hitter and pitcher sample, looks like Joey Gallo is the guy that leads the charge in both, and Jorge Polanco. So if I found Polanco with a decent fantasy score, 7, Maize is only really going to get one turn through the lineup, and then it'd be the bullpen. So I might take Polanco over if he's in the top 3 of that lineup. And Buxton at 6. Buxton at 6 seems really good too. So I might do that. So I might do some Buxton over, Polanco over, and guys like that. So that's kind of how I play it. But everyone has their own process. But check it out, PrizePicks.com. If you use code GUNDACKER when you sign up, you'll get 100% deposit bonus up to $100, so $20. Hey, they say, all right, we'll turn that into 40. No slow drip. It's instant. And then, yeah, we got one game left on the docket. Let me get caught up on chat, and then we'll talk about Mad Max and Ryan Weathers. When will Prize Picks be available everywhere? Because I'm tired of not being able to participate. That's a good question. I know that they've been opening up as sports betting becomes more legal, and some of these states that open up fantasy sports, they do it by selling licenses, so it has to be worth it. But I think they've been pretty liberal with spending. They've got really big partnerships with most of the fantasy community, so they are really. I haven't seen a fantasy company start up and gain steam like them. Like, I've seen a lot of people come and go. Fantasy draft, fantasy aces. Yahoo, you would have thought Yahoo had an inside track with the checkbook that they have, but a lot of fantasy sites don't gain steam, but PrizePicks is gaining steam. Like, a lot of people are playing there. It's different enough. It has the sportsbook feel, but you don't have to shop lines every day. You're just worried about the projection, and you're already doing the research game by game anyway. So it's a good, I think, complement to our DFS approach. The main reason I use PrizePicks, for me in Texas, it is a substitute for sports betting. I don't have access to convenient sports books like Fanduel and DraftKings in Texas yet. So if you are like me, one of those states that you can't do it, like, there's going to be guys that when NBA gets here, I can't really play in fantasy every day, but maybe I like him for over 7.5 rebounds or something like that, and that's where I can get exposure to rewarding the research that I'm already doing, right? Anyway, main event tonight. Josh Jennings, I missed the Mets game. What are your thoughts on Mets lefty stack? I wasn't that I'm not that high on that game. I could get to some Mets, but I'm not super high. I'll go back to that game in just a second. After we do this game, I'm going to go back, update some lineups, and if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, throw them at me, spam the chat, and we'll try to address everything. And I'll try to get you guys out of here by the top of the hour and go catch the Osmo stream, and then I'll be in the Discord with the Vipers. So if you guys want to jump into Discord with me, go to rundfs.com, get yourself a pass. So Ryan Weathers on the bump for the Padres. Max Scherzer on the bump for the Dodgers. Scherzer 10.4K on DraftKings. He takes on a Padres team that is basically, they're done. Scherzer has a lot of incentives today. If you're into incentive-based picks and narratives, this is the guy for you. We put him on the cover. First and foremost, the Dodgers are in a division race with the Giants. The Dodgers essentially have to win every game, and the Giants have an easy schedule. So there's that. If the Dodgers can win out and maybe jump the Giants to take the division, and they don't have to rely on a wild card game, one game, anything can happen. It's baseball type of situation. Also, Max Scherzer is one of the two dogs in the hunt for the Cy Young conversation, right? Corbin Burns being one of those guys. I think Walker Buehler's got some steam. So Max Scherzer, he pitches an absolute gem here. That might be his statement game for the Cy Young. And at 10.4K, he has probably one of the highest floor to ceiling ratios in all of baseball. Only dropped 9 in Coors. Hey, it's Coors baseball. That happens. Prior to that, it's 30 plus more often than it's not. And at 10.4K, like, I'd be willing to probably spend 11.4K on Max Scherzer in this spot. So Max at 8. At 10.4K, you got a shot at getting 7+ innings of over a strikeout per inning baseball. He's got 2 games against the Padres this season, averaging almost 40 points a game. This guy's got every reason in the world to come out here and pitch a gem, and he's one of those guys that I do like to put some emotion on because he pitches with emotion. So he'll be one of my favorite pitchers on the entire slate. Probably my first draft at a tier 1 pitcher on today's slate. I like him quite a bit. And then Ryan Weathers, you did your thing, dog, but that's going to be a no for me. Dodger stack, it's going to cost you if you're on it. Everyone's over 5K, 6.1K for Mookie Betts. Yeah, they can get to a lefty like Weathers for sure, 2.2 home run per 9, and get into that bullpen. But it's going to be hard to get a 5-man Dodger stack. Maybe this will be one of those 3-man stacks you have to lean on just because you're getting priced out of doing anything else with it. But yeah, give me Max Scherzer, and if you can get to some Dodgers, go for it. And that's it, man. That is our 13-game slate. I believe I didn't miss any games, right? No Coors here. Was Coors just a makeup yesterday, or is that just straight up not? Yeah, that's every game. So, yeah, give me some Max Scherzer for sure. I like the thought of a cash game lineup that features like Scherzer, Montes. So if I did that, that would give me 37 per. So we'd have to really penny pinch and find a couple value plays. And then if you wanted to go the other way, maybe Scherzer, Eovaldi, or Eovaldi, Montes will also save you some pennies. So I'm going to have some fun building lineups tonight, that's for sure. Let's use this time to get caught up on lineups, see if there's any surprises in some of these release lineups so far. If you guys had anything else to add, definitely drop it in chat. That's what this part of the class is for. And yeah, favorite. That's it. All right. So I guess Josh, we'll address your question about the Mets. First of all, the Mets lineup did come out. It's Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor, Michael Conforto, Pete Alonso, Javi Baez, Jonathan VR, Dominic Smith hit the lineup, batting 7th, and then James McCann batting 8th. So a little bit different, not a lot. You were asking about the lefties, probably because of this home run rate for Hernandez, 2.82 home run per 9 so far for Hernandez against lefties. I don't have anyone with a massive rating on the bomb detector, but we do have some 200 plus ISO hitters from the lefties. Lindor, Michael Conforto, even Jonathan VR can hit with a little bit of pop. So I don't hate it, but they do have a really meager expectation, a 4.3 run total, and it's mid 60-degree temperatures in Citi Field. So it's not like my favorite spot, but price-wise, I think you can justify it. Brandon Nimmo at 3,300, leading off. If you're going to try to get one of those Max Montes lineups going, he might be a candidate that give you 5 or 6 implied at bats with a bit of a positive platoon split, right? Especially for power. Let me get caught up on some lineups, though. We do have the Red Sox and the Orioles lineup. Red Sox will answer a lot of questions here. Kike Hernandez, Hunter Renfroe, Devers, Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez, Bobby Dalbec, Kevin Plawecki is catching, Alex Verdugo, and then Jose Iglesias. So Plawecki is 2,900 on DraftKings. Maybe he's a little bit of a salary retrieval out of that catcher spot that fits into a positive stack. And a not bad spot getting behind guys like Dalbec, JD Martinez. There might be some RBI potential for him. And then the Orioles lineup is Cedric Mullins, Ryan Mountcastle, Austin Hayes, Trey Mancini, Pedro Severino. Catcher batting fifth, Ryan McKenna, Pat Valleca, Kelvin Gutierrez, Richie Martin. Did I type Ryan McKenna wrong? Ryan McKenna. There it is. That's our confirmed Orioles lineup. Not much has changed there. They put out a lot of righties, like all but one righty. And that's tapping into Eovaldi's 1-in-4 K rate to righties, 25%, a 0.98 home run per nine, with the 46% ground ball rate, 24% hard contact rate. So 8,400 for Eovaldi, soft landing. If he has an average game, 16 to 17 DKP, you might still have live lineups. I would imagine he becomes one of the highest owned pitchers, probably top 3 in my head. I think Max could be up there, but I gotta imagine the points per dollar on Eovaldi is projecting really, really good for your average projection system. And then the Red Sox lineup didn't really change much. Plawecki maybe is more fun to play than Vasquez if that's something that moves a needle for you, but everyone else was already going to be pretty well sought after and looking for a bounce back after last night. Any buyer's remorse after last night? You guys that stacked the Red Sox last night, are you less likely to stack them tonight? I'm not, right? Baseball, you just got to go with the flow and play the matchups no matter what happened last night. Both good and bad, right? New to baseball, DFS, can you do a quick breakdown on best stacking rules? 1, 2, 3, 4 batting order too much? No. Maybe, I don't know if what optimizers you might use, but maybe you would put a rule that, the hitters are within 2 of each other. The reason why stacking is so overpowered is because you're throwing a blanket on the highest positive correlation that there is. That's guys on base. Like you got 2 guys on and a 3-run homer. Like yesterday when Stanton homered, I think Judge and Rizzo were on base. I think maybe it was DJ. So not only do you get the home run, the RBI points for Stanton, but you get the run points for the guys that are on base as well. So it wouldn't make sense, like if you're going to 3-man stack, let's say the Yankees, right? Like unless you just specifically like their shot at homers, like it wouldn't make sense to have DJ, then Gallo, then Gardner, because they have like the least contact to each other, right? You still want to honor some positive correlation and kind of like the quarterback receiver, right? Get points for the touchdown if you can get it. But otherwise, if you're just onslaught stacking a team because you like the spot that they're in, go for it. I wouldn't necessarily be too caught up in the rules of batting order because it's not. Like in cash, sure, you want to maybe gravitate towards some guys higher in the lineup to maximize your at-bat potential or your plate appearance potentials. But it's I can have some Higgy today. It doesn't matter. Mad Max is on a mission. Let's go. Red Sox have been sucking against lefties for most of the year. I played them last night. I don't know that statement's true. They have a 104 WRC plus against lefties. So I guess like they're barely above average, but come on, like Kike Hernandez, Hunter Renfroe, JD Martinez, like you're not gonna not get to those guys. Yankees lineup just came out as expected. No Luke Voit, DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, and Carlo, Joey Gallo, Glaber, Gio Urshela, Brett Gardner, and Higashioka. So as expected, Higgy catching Cole. Blue Jays lineup is out as well. George Springer, Marcus Semien, Vladdy Jr., Bo Bichette, Teoscar, Lourdes Gurriel, Corey Dickerson, Santiago Espino, and Reese McGuire catching, not Danny Jansen. So that is our Blue Jays lineup. Same thoughts here, man. You can give me a little Cole. You can give me a little of both offenses here. A little bit of Barrios in my life, and I think we, like yesterday, play the ranges of outcomes. I was not on Tyon yesterday because I didn't think his leash was that long, and I didn't get to Ryu, but I understood if you wanted to. I feel like those pitchers had more question marks coming off of injuries with probably tapered pitch counts than most, and Ryu hadn't been good to begin with. But today with Cole versus Berrios, there's 4 stories to tell, right? The Cole has been somebody that can bleed red. We saw him collapse against the Indians, so it wouldn't be crazy for the Blue Jays in a must-win game to shine and get through. The Yankees have a rebuilt bullpen, so to speak, but and we might see Loaizica make his return tonight because I think they're going to trade Tyon to the IL and activate Loaizica. That's just my guess. So I do think that the Yankees pitching becomes a little bit tougher behind Cole, but you can see the Blue Jays offense playing inspired. And one of the things that maybe got lost in yesterday's game is when the Blue Jays got on base, Montoya was aggressive. Like they're in it for the kill. We saw 2 stolen bases off of Gary, I think, in the first or second inning. So when they were getting on, they were running. And Higashioka doesn't have the same arm that Gary Sanchez has, so you might expect him to be extra aggressive if and when they do get on playing for their life. So maybe you get more stolen base, more implied stolen bases out of them as well. So just kind of something to keep in mind. Mets and Marlins. Marlins lineup did come out. We got Miguel Rojas, Jazz Chisholm, Brian De La Cruz, Jesus Sanchez, Lewin Diaz is batting 5th. Lewis Brinson is batting 6th. Eddie Alvarez, Alex Jackson. That's our confirmed Marlins lineup. Nothing's changed here, right? I'm not playing the Marlins. Schwarber's about to go on another home run streak. Write it down. Schwarber is not in the lineup, so write it down and put it to the side. I don't know. That's kind of weird, right? Schwarber's the one good thing that they had last night. And homers off a lefty and doesn't make the lineup the next night. So you wonder if there's something to that. Fanduel's daring you not to play Rodon with his whack Cincinnati lineup. Yeah, like I said, I have some concerns about how deep he could go. Phillies lineup is out. Odubel Herrera, Gene Segura, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Andrew McCutchen, Matt Vierling, Didi Gregorius, Ronald Torreyes in the lineup. Phillies about dead. One more loss for the Phillies, and it's a wrap, right? Joe Girardi can probably shut it down. Tigers at the Twins. We do have both lineups for this one. Akil Baddoo, Jonathan Scope, Robbie Grossman, Miguel Cabrera, Jamer Candelario, Harold Castro, Eric Haas, Nico Goodrum, and Daz Cameron batting 9th here. So that's your confirmed Tigers lineup. I didn't hate a couple errant shots at Pineda in a $150. Luis Ariz, Byron Buxton, Jorge Polanco, Donaldson, Kepler, Sano, Nick Gordon, Jake Cave is in the lineup, not Mitch Garver. Ryan Jeffers is catching, not Mitch Garver. So no Garver in the lineup. Definitely a little bit of a step backwards, but the Twins, I think, are still stackable. And there's more lefties here. So if we do expect Casey Mize to get one turn through the lineup, pitching 3 innings, there's some positive platoons for guys like Kepler, Polanco. Ariz, not somebody we expect to hit for power, but he's pretty cheap with one of the highest batting average you could probably get out of a guy in that spot. So $100 above mid price on FanDuel. I do like the twin stack. They'll be in the mix for me. Brewers lineup is out. Jace on base. Jace Peterson, former Yankee great, leading off. He's got some speed, and he's really, really cheap. So he might be somebody I'm putting in my back pocket for those Max Scherzer, Frankie Montas lineups because he can steal bases, and if he gets 5 or 6 implied at bats, they might play some small ball. They don't have a lot of reason to play the Brewers, that is, but Jace Peterson is always a journeyman trying to get his next job, right? So I don't know what his contract's looking like, but maybe if, he gets on base here, he's looking to add to his highlight reel. He's also shown a little bit of power this year. Eduardo Escobar batting 4th, Daniel Vogelbach batting 5th, Lorenzo Cain batting 5th. I mean, this lineup is what? Manny Pena batting 8th out of the catcher spot. So JBJ's in the lineup. Lorenzo Cain's in the lineup batting 6th. Brewers are kind of cheap against a contact pitcher. I'm still not expecting much or anything from them, but sure. Want to play Iglesias, but hard to click on 9th spot. I wouldn't overthink that, especially from a road guy. Like, what's the difference in at bats from a road 9-hole hitter versus a home 7-hole, 6-hole hitter? And you get the wraparound, right? If Iglesias got on base in front of Kike Hernandez and in the top of the lineup, sure, go for it. A little bit of a revenge spot for him too, right? Did he used to play for the Orioles? Jose Iglesias? I think so. If you care about that. Oh no, I'm on the Red Sox now. Iglesias also, he would not be eligible for the postseason roster for the Red Sox. So he's looking to make his last couple at-bats count for his future as well. Rangers lineup is out. They're going to lead off with Willie Calhoun, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe, Andy, I took a pill, and Ibanez, Jose Trevino, Leody Taveras, and Brock Holt, and then Laurel Hernandez batting 9th. I still like Garcia to tap into some of that power. Rays lineup is out. What about the Indians? No. Rays lineup is out. So the Rays are one of those teams that we want to focus on. One thing to note about these teams that are locked in is it's not like your normal September, right? It's still, 26-man rosters? Back in my day, we had September call-ups and massive roster expansions where we were playing, the AAA teams. They really don't have that luxury this year. So we might still see some normalized lineups at least to start, and maybe we get half a games out of them. But this Rays lineup looks pretty normal. Nelson Cruz batting 3rd, G-Man Choi batting cleanup here. Joey Wendell. So he's not like an everyday starter. Maybe he's an example of somebody getting a little bit more PT. Brett Phillips also. And then Francisco Mejia is behind the dish, not Mike Zunino. So catchers are definitely somebody that they might be trying to fresh up for the playoffs. Jose Altuve, Michael Brantley, welcome back. Batting 2nd. So there's a cheap way to get attached to the Astros lineup. Alex Bregman batting 3rd. Yordan Alvarez. Yoli Gurriel is batting 5th. Carlos Correa batting 6th. Kyle Tucker. Jose Siri. Hey Siri, play Despacito. There's your Astros lineup. And that's probably it. I probably gotta dismiss class here. Anything else in the chat? Sal Perez needs one more to tie the club home run record. Hope he gets it. Yeah, that'd be nice. I like Salvador Perez, man. I'm glad that he was able to find a spark, man. I think last year he slipped and fell carrying his luggage and got injured, and it was like, wow, how does that happen? That's not good. I like Nate Lowe in this spot. I do like the righties from the Rangers, more so Adolis Garcia. Stanton keeps this bomb streak going tonight. Against Jose Berrios, might be a little tougher. What we saw out of his homer yesterday, was it Richards? He kept trying to go down and in with the changeup, and he would not abandon that as his put-out pitch, and he let Stanton get 3 or 4 looks at it before he sent it over the wall. Berrios, at this point, you might just not pitch to Stanton, but if you got runners on, you gotta do what you gotta do. Hopefully he keeps it going, but it's a little bit of not probable to hit homers in 5 straight games. At least his price is catching up, right? He's been severely underpriced to this point, and he's been really good all year. Berrios against righties, so 0.57 homer per 9. So if he did it, it would more than likely have to come against the bullpen again anyway. Chat, I'm going to be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord right after this. Hope you guys crush it tonight. If you're headed out, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. We are getting close to 6K. That's the goal, the next goal. So if you like the content, subscribe, and I sure do appreciate it. Twitter.com/Gundacker. I appreciate you making part of my time be part of your time. Go out and win all the money tonight. Save some for me. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money. Peace.